Well, it's 9 o'clock. Rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And with that, we will open our regular meeting of the Houston County Board with the approval of the agenda. Two notes on the action items. Number 3 is something that we've already acted on, so that will be voided. And on the consent agenda, Lauren Arneson's resignation date is December the 28th. The original date was changed to the 28th. Another change is for Lisa Yant, a child support officer, to go from full-time employee at 95.95 to a 0.1 until such time as the hiring of a second child support officer.
0.1 or 1 point?
1 point. Did I say 0.1?
Yes.
Sorry, 1 point.
Okay.
Go from 0.95 to 1
And
point.
who was that?
That is Lisa Yant.
Okay.
So we would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Nothing else?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then is the approval of the previous minutes from the board meeting on December the 14th of 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Got a motion and a second from Greg to approve the minutes from December the 14th. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is public comment. I have lots of public here. I think I know why most of you are here, but any comment from the public? Mary, your box just lit up. Did you have something to say? No, get on with it. No public comment. Then we move forward to appointments. The appointments are at 9:05, and we're just a couple minutes early, for employee recognition awards. I'm going to do that from up here. All your neighbors can come up to get your award. I'm going to start with the 10 years.
Your dog's out here.
With Justin here. Justin Conn. Stephen Garrett.
You should go out there too.
Okay. James Hodak. The highway department. And Kathleen Lager.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Stemper. Donna, are you coming?
Oh, I'll just get it from here. Thank you.
And Teresa Walter. Then we go to the 15 year. Lori Biggle. Lori here. Vidoc. Jennifer Blocker.
Thank you.
I'll take a picture.
Well, so it's your second job there, anyone?
What's that?
That's your second job?
Yeah. Is it pointed right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can see it.
Bethany Moore. Michelle Schultz. Now we're going to the 20 years. Patrick Burns is not here. This much I know. Tracy Erickson. Tracy. Well, Nikki Folsom, I know Nick. Teresa Gavin Kubitz. Randall Hungerhold.
Not here.
No, highway department's not here. Karen Coleman. Years of service. Let's stop. Julie Schleich. And Brian Swelberg.
Take care.
I want to thank everybody for being here, everybody for their service. County wouldn't be the same without you.
You're doing the work. Let's give them another round of applause.
I have to see to do the delivery of all the other ones that the people have not been.
Here for one picture.
Yeah.
Right up front.
35.
Thank you. I should apologize, but I probably should have met with everybody.
You should be in the center, Bob. You're the chairman. So.
You go there. I don't want to stand.
That's the bumper.
Years still got it.
Teresa, we made it to 10 years.
Kelly.
Worked with Julie years ago when she was at GSI in the Crescent.
Oh, really?
Came here. Back in the 80s when I had the summers.
Mhm.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah,
Kind of unusual.
Right?
best part of the day.
Yep.
That's the fun part of it.
Congratulations, Teresa. 10
How many
years.
years you got,
It's
Allison?
11 already, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't count those.
Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
She's
Sure
an
will.
EDA employee.
I don't think I'll make the 30.
Huh?
You won't,
I
what?
won't make the.
You won't
30.
make the 30?
So,
You'd have to be higher up in the political ranks to get 30.
No idea.
They'll go to DC for that.
Yeah,
Once they get in there, they stay. Sometimes it's,
that went fast.
Yeah, good.
So the next item of business, the consent agenda. That's the approval of the 2022 tobacco licenses for River Valley Convenience Store, Cenex in Houston, Houston Food Market, BP, and the DG Retail LLC, Dollar General.
And then we're adding those other two items too that you
Right.
mentioned.
Lisa Arneson
And
and
the Lisa Arneson resignation at the end of 12/28.
Lauren Arneson, sorry.
Lauren.
Lisa's the, yeah.
Lisa Yant, Child Support Officer, FTE, from 0.95 to 1 point FTE.
question on that. Are we the only ones that do the tobacco license for the county? Because I see Spring Grove and other communities aren't on this list. Or when do they come in? Another time? What's the policy on that? I just-
Commissioner Severson,
Period.
yeah. The tobacco's licenses for the other, like Spring Grove, that's the cities take care of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, the city of Houston doesn't do that.
Okay, that's the reason. Thank you.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Further discussion?
Just
Hearing
like-
that. Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you to Lauren for years of service.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is the action items. First one is consider adoption of resolution number 21-60 to allow the auditor treasurer to apply for a Vega 3 grant on behalf of Money Creek Township. Vega 3 grant is authorized to offset 50% of the cost of optical scan equipment. The proposed cost of a new DS200 ballot counter is $5,540. The purchase will enable the township to hold their own standalone elections going forward. Grant funds are expected to arrive in February of '22 if approved. Money Creek Township is providing a township resolution approving the 50% match. Donna?
Yep, good morning, Commissioners. So for the most part, this is a new Vega Grant 3 that's come across from the Secretary of State. We at this time are not going to be purchasing any new equipment for the county for the elections, but Money Creek Township is asking, or we asked them if they wanted us to try to help them get this grant money because they are going on their own, and this would be a nice way to get them this new DS200 for their polling place, which they will need. And they agreed to it, and they will, it won't cost the county anything because the Vega 3 grant will take care of half the cost, and then the Money Creek Township will match the other half. So it will be taken care of, and with no cost to the county at all. We will do the paperwork for them. In fact, we had to have it in by the 17th, but the resolutions, we told them that the resolutions were going to be coming this week as they had not been to the board yet. So Money Quick will get the resolution and I'll get the resolution from, if you pass it today. And it should be fairly simple and easy and and it actually, I'm pretty sure they will get it, but being that it's not actually, if this is actually an additional piece of equipment for them, it's not like replacement, so there could be a chance they won't be granted it, but I'm almost positive that they will because of the small amount. So I think it'll be pretty much a go for them.
Go ahead.
It should be noted too that Money Creek's a pretty good sized township and they do have a fairly nice facility there with their ADA compliant, so
Right.
I can understand them wanted to go back on their own
But when you say on their own,
for all the election purposes, because they used to be in at the fire hall and they shared with Houston Township, Sheldon, and Yucatan.
We can, yeah. And they just
well,
felt,
when they're on their own, it still has to come back to the information still has to come back to the county.
Yes,
Right.
oh, yes, they will
So they're
have.
not on their own per se.
But
on their own
residents
for
can go to one
elections.
place.
Right.
They're at their own facility. Yeah.
They won't be sharing the polling place anymore. They just felt they wanted to go with their own township hall again. And so they will have their own DS200, they will have their own Automark, and they will come, they'll have their own data and everything. So it'll be just that they'll be separate from where they were before.
It's their own polling place. The information still has to come back to the county auditor.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everything will be the same as it was before. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve that grant.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 21-60 with regard to the Vega grant for Money Creek Township. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2, consider abatement approval for Sunrise Care Facility, parcel number 26.0296.001. Lucas, come on down. Thank you.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt for a second and ask
Sure.
who's on phone number 725-5800? Who's on
Somebody in
5?
your-
That'd be the zoning department.
Yep.
Is it
Yes,
zoning?
it's Amelia.
Amelia, okay, thanks, Amelia. Okay, carry on.
All right, so on the Sunrise facilities, they're an exempt property, and the exemption didn't transfer over from the transfer from our system to tax. And it made it taxable, so they got a tax bill. Once they notify us, we switched it back to taxable in the tax system. So they should have tax, so that's what the abatement is for.
It's a correction.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Lucas?
Move to approve. That's the facility at the edge of town going towards Dorchester. This,
The facilities on the north end of town?
Yeah. Our
On the south side of town going towards Dorchester on Division Avenue.
Mhm.
across from the bus storage.
We lost Greg. He's froze.
Are you froze, Greg?
did he fall asleep or froze?
I think he's froze.
I think his internet phone.
Yeah, it was acting up. I could hear it.
Okay. Well, we would entertain a motion to approve.
We have
Well-
a first from Dewey.
I'll second it.
Okay, sorry. Got a motion and a second to approve. Further discussion? Greg is back. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action item number 3 is the memorandum that we've already acted on, so we are going to pass that. Action item number 4, consider approving a conditional use permit for Sean Allen to build an accessory building in a residential district in La Crescent Township. That's Amelia. Amelia is no longer online.
She's probably walking down now, I guess.
Okay. So Greg, you were involved with the conditional use permit for Sean Allen. Any issue on that?
Nope, it was a good deal. He's putting up a nice shed and cleaning up all his junk so he can put it inside. It was a good idea.
Good.
Looks like he's got a lot of things to put in the shed based on that one picture.
Well, that was the number one complaint. They all wanted him to get his shit put in a shed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here she
I'll make
comes.
a motion to approve that.
So this is just a CUP. They're looking for a garage in the residential district that's a little over our standards. He also sought 2 variances, one for the garage door height and then one for placing the garage in front of the house, because his house is butted up against the hillside and there's just really no location to build behind as the residential ordinance requires.
I think Greg already made a motion.
Greg made a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for Sean Allen. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Those opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Sorry, Greg. Or Eric. Greg. I'm getting all confused. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I have a question while I'm in here. Is there an opportunity or a chance to put addresses with these parcels when you do these CUPs or variances? I look at some of these numbers and abstract numbers and parcel numbers and don't understand totally where they're at. Is that possible or is that
Yeah, what are you?
Permitted.
It's in the packet.
Because it's in.
All of it's in the,
way in the bottom?
packet, In the application, it's
Mhm.
On the second page.
Okay, that's beyond what I can get on my
Okay.
boat anchor here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She has the.
My Wi-Fi is not good.
I'll stop and sign.
that's all the materials in the pack.
Action, okay, action item number 5 is consider approval of the elected officials' 2022 salaries. County Attorney Samuel Yant, $120,803.90. County Sheriff Mark Englet, $109,750. Auditor Treasurer Donna Trias, $89,419. This is Tess and Teresa.
Commissioner, I would just ask that you take each elected official as a separate vote for the record.
Okay,
we need to do this every year for a 1 year. We set the elected officials, and actually Eric and I met with the elected officials last week and discussed it thoroughly, and this is the numbers we came up with. I don't know if you need further clarification on it. We have all that. I sent out a notice to Tess to put it on the agenda for Eric and I, and this is what we're recommending.
Okay.
Eric, you want to explain a little further?
Well, what it is a 2% COLA
Okay.
being placed at the next step on the new grid, just for a guide.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what it is for county sheriff and county attorney.
Yes, just for a point of clarification, the grid that the commissioners reviewed with the elected officials is a guideline. This is not a contractual grid. It is a guideline, and so we're following the statutory language that says each of them will be set prior to their first day on the job, so to speak, when this one, not sworn in, when they return in the new year. And so Commissioner Johnson is correct. The county attorney and the sheriff's proposed annual salary is based on a 2% adjustment. And the auditor treasurer is based on a 2% adjustment, also with a factoring in of what a mid-year step adjustment would be as well, to keep her at some parity with her non-represented colleagues, as department heads. And so they're all in place.
Also, the sheriff and the county attorney are maxed out or stepped out on their grid and the
Sheriff.
guideline. The sheriff is, oh yeah, the county attorney is not, that's right.
Right.
Yep. I make a motion, we approve the salary for Samuel Yant at 120,803.90.
Don't forget the 9, and I'll second it.
So I have a motion and a second to approve County Attorney Samuel Yant's annual wage at $120,803.90. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve county.
Those opposed?
Sorry.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve Sheriff Mark Inglis' salary at $109,750.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded for County Sheriff Mark Inglet's annual salary to be $109,750. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'll move to approve the wage for Donna Trius, the auditor, at 89,419. I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the annual wage for Auditor Treasurer Donna Trius at $89,419. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action item number 6. That's consider for non-represented employees. Consider approving placing all non-represented employees on the proposed initial placement pay grid at a step which is the next closest step that is equal to or greater than their current 2021 hourly equivalency, with an across-the-board 2% COLA for the year 2022. Employee whose current pay rate is beyond the new adjusted pay grid will receive a 2% COLA adjustment of their current pay rate for year 2022. And temporary seasonal employee wage scales for seasonal help, veteran service drivers, and sheriff's office transport officer pay rates will be adjusted 2% for 2022.
Yes, Commissioners, this is the offer that we have been negotiating with our units, and we're putting our non-represented in similar situations, so we have equity within our wage and salary compensation.
Anything from the
Do you have a list of how everybody falls on that?
For us, I have the last year's, but I don't have this year's.
A new
No,
list?
Or
where
was
they
it in
fall
the-
on it, I do, I don't have it here with me.
Could you?
Was it in the packet? No.
No, it's not in the packet. Could you email that or not?
Yes,
Yes.
I would like it
wanna
to.
double check it. So it's we're asking for a.
Well, last year we got a copy of what they each made and what step they were at for. We just need an updated one.
So
it's
what you have is, since is in your packet, is you have the 2021
Yeah.
for initial placement.
Mhm.
for those, with the grid of the 2022
Right.
for the 2% adjustment. Then the 2% would be adjustment to those who appear above the current salary is above what we are proposing for a annual for the new grid be grandfathered in. Should those positions be replaced, they would then, those individuals would be part of, would be just on wage grid without any grandfather.
Well, what we need besides that is a breakdown of the individuals that are
Mhm.
non-union. But, I mean, we did
believe,
agree
Commissioners,
to
you
all
need
that.
For today, we're asking for is to approve the 2% adjustment to those at the top. Just as we do for what we're asking for in your next item, which is on the, we're looking at the IUOE union, is we're asking for an approval to how we compensate the group. We do not make individual.
It's just for,
Unlike the
it's just for our information.
I can provide that information.
Yeah, that's
to you,
what
and
we
I'm
need.
happy to do so. That's not something that's required for today's action.
So,
Make a motion, we consider approving the 2% COLA for the non-represented employees.
Second,
a motion is made and seconded to consider the non-represented employees where they're placed on the grid and the 2% COLA. Further discussion.
I have one further discussion. Are the commissioners are included on that list from
No.
last year. And I don't think we want to have the commissioners,
They were included on the non-represented list?
last year was the one.
Were
I
they?
had.
Okay, is that how it works?
Is that
I
right?
thought it was separate, but
We would, your wage would be discussed at your salary, not your wage. Yes, that does need to be adjusted and set. I'm not adjusted, that does need to be set for next year as elected.
so it's not on the agenda today. We'd have to do it the 27th. Isn't it?
We are
Okay.
having a meeting next week.
next
And
week,
I
I
don't
thought,
know, commissioners, if you folks have had a conversation, I've thought about it individually, obviously not a conversation between all
No.
of you.
We have
But,
not.
No, we haven't.
But individually, as to what your thoughts are on that, individually,
So it'll be on
Might
an
make that
action item for
consideration.
next week.
yes.
Okay, because the one I had from last year had the commissioners on.
I believe that County Administrator Babinski probably has
Okay,
that conversation.
that could be. Okay, so the commissioners are not included in this motion is all I want to make sure.
No, you are elected officials and
Okay,
we will need to address that at the
that's
last
no
meeting.
problem then.
So I just want to revise my motion just to make it clear that it's a 2% COLA and the next qualified step.
Mhm.
For those who still are entitled to us.
Right. And the ones who are not are just a 2%. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
The second agree.
agree.
Okay. So the motion is made and seconded for the non-represented employees, which does not include commissioners, to approve the 2% COLA for the year 2022, the placement on the grid for those applicable, and the increases for the seasonal help and veteran service and sheriff's office transportation drivers pay rates. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action item number 7. Consider through mutual agreement with the IUOE local number 49, I'm having trouble with my numbers. That the current 2021-2023 agreement expires on 12/31/2021, and approve the proposed 2022 to 2024 labor agreement between the County of Houston and the International Union of Operating Engineers, local number 49, AFL-CIO.
Yes, Commissioners, we have the Personnel Committee reached tentative agreement with the union. They go to take this same item to vote at, I believe, noon today. This would be, if both parties approve, would be the first of our 6 agreements that we have a final settlement on. The reason why you might wonder, why do we have to have a vote to terminate this current agreement? In statute, we can only have, we're limited in statute to entering up to a maximum of 3-year agreements with the with our respective units. Therefore, in order to go through 2024, we necessarily, by mutual agreement, through our respective votes, would have to agree to terminate the current 2021, 22, and 23 agreement in order to get that 4th year there. So that's part of that. The details of the vote of the tentative agreement itself is to enter a 3-year term, 2022 through 2024. That the, and I did forward that information on, that the individuals be placed on the initial grid as to where we settled that in the in our negotiations, and that for 2022 there would be a 2% COLA, 2023 a 3%, and 2024 a 3% adjustment to that grid. That all current eligible employees will have a new anniversary date for the purpose of future steps for those who may be entitled to it, of July 1, rather their anniversary date. So long as they remain in their current positions, this provision does not affect new hires after the execution of this agreement, nor does it impact any promotional or job transfer anniversary dates a current employee may have into the future. I believe, I'm speaking on behalf of the Personnel Committee, there were a lot of deep conversation. I really appreciate the tenor of the discussion, the debate, sometimes, if you will, argument in a positive way that the union brought to the table. Their professionalism was greatly appreciated. Both sides approached the matter at arm's length. We were quite a ways apart, and I believe this is a well thought out and a very equitable contract that we are proposing that the board consider.
Sounds like a lot of work went into this, and it's kind of where we talked about in our previous meetings. This will maybe start the tide for other negotiations or whatever. So I think it's a good deal, and I move to approve the agreement that is before us.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the IUOE local number 45 tentative agreement for the years 2022, 23, and 24, as explained by Tess. Any further discussion?
I just want to emphasize.
Go ahead.
The initial placement that they were put on was on the 0% new wage grid that we proposed. And so, and then the 2% COLA was on top of that for 2022. So there was no extra step advancement, just their next closest step.
Right.
Yes.
Clarification, Commissioner Johnson, we did have one adjustment that we did have to make that.
On
One
the
person.
maintenance foreman.
The only question I had was, originally the contract was 21, 22, 23, opening for wages for 22 and 23. Now this is a new contract, so all the old verbiage stays the same for 22, 23, and 24 with this adjustment for wages.
Correct.
So there's no opening at the end of 23 for 24 verbiage.
No.
No,
Okay.
this is a COD.
Okay.
Okay, super.
Mhm.
Assuming they approve it when they have their vote. Further discussion?
You want to clarify on the one exception?
We had an employee who the current contract that we have with the 49ers is a 3-step agreement. So while we're trying to do in our negotiations with each group, there may be a contractual anomaly that is different for that particular group that we already have an existing contract with them on. That creates, so we have to negotiate around that. So for this, they reach that what we call target, which is their top step in this particular unit with the current agreement, not the one that you're looking to vote on. Within 3 years, there was one individual that was due to reach that step in a very short period of time here in 2022, which we have a current contract with them on. So we acknowledge that. And we're replacing that person. So as we have these anomalies, if you will, I don't know any other word to call it, because our contracts are not apples to apples, oranges to oranges. It's really a mixed salad. We have to address our obligations under our current agreements and come to some kind of consensus on that with the unions. And so that's what that represents. Thank you, Commissioner.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioners. Once we hear from the union, I will prepare the final formal document for your signature, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Action item number 8, consider adopting the 2022 tax levy resolution number 21-61. Carol.
Well, pick one of these or like the
I printed mine.
cover.
I did print one.
I can open mine up. I've got it here.
A little.
I know my.
Why don't we,
printer.
you know.
Oh, now I can even read it
I
without.
got
It was really little, yes.
So for the preliminary budget, we sent out all the departmental budgets and requested that everyone really take a look and see what we could possibly lower, decrease, increase revenues, decrease expenditures. So you can see that we actually came, it's about $300,000 that we were able to reduce from the preliminary budget to the final budget.
Mhm.
I think departments did a really good job, finding things that they could, because the finance committee had met previously and actually made some adjustments to some of these budgets already. So, it was a good reduction. But it does bring, at the 3% levy increase, we still have a budget deficit of $41,268.
Mhm.
I don't know that we can do anything more with that, but we would be looking at using fund balance to cover that
Mhm.
from our carryover of like non-assigned, non-committed, just our true unassigned fund balance.
Right.
To do that. We do have the wage settlements that will be coming in, but we do have some other increase in health insurance and money that we're going to be getting from the service co-op to cover portions of that. So I guess we're hoping that the use of the fund balance isn't the entire amount.
Mhm.
So the levy and the budget documents, 2 resolutions include the information in the green highlighted, the final panel that we've done.
Been in multiple meetings with the finance committee and the department heads and whatnot, and brought this down to this level.
Change.
It would be my recommendation that we adopt it as proposed with the 3% increase. And minimal effect as far as the unassigned fund balances.
It seems like we've done a lot of trimming. I can see that from the preliminary to the final, so.
And it should be noted that to thank the departments for doing that, looking that over and seeing what they can do
Yep.
to get us more in line here.
There's so many question marks coming up with things as we're coming out of this COVID warning, stuff like that. So I move that we adopt the levy resolution 2161 as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to adopt the 2022 tax levy resolution number 21-61. Further discussion.
Now, the CPA, did you ever figure out why that's a little less this time around, or any explanation for that?
We just get a sheet that says, this much is based on, this much is based on whatever. So, could be that our population decreased.
Possibly.
Well,
But they wouldn't have known that information. Well, maybe they would have, but
I think they probably have.
they probably did. I would like to see a full board effort to communicate with our legislature and with the 7 billion surplus that the state has, that it would be nice to see more of a increase in our county program aid to help alleviate the property taxes in the counties.
There's a number of things that we should ask them to do besides county program aid. They could also pay up on their corrections
Correct.
payroll, and they could help out a little more as far as the human services with placement costs for kids and whatnot.
there's a lot of places we can go.
That would be beneficial.
I don't know if you want to do it a individual effort or a collaborative effort as a board, like a resolution or something, but to
We could do a
send
resolution.
Collaborative effort.
would be best to send to
Yes.
them, to let
Yes.
them know, because if you don't tell them, they won't.
Well, I think I agree that if we send like after the first year before things get started up, signed by all of us, say, hey,
Well, it's like it was brought up at the Truth and Taxation. The one gentleman brought up that, well, there's always been a proposal of giving back rebates of $200, $300 to the citizens. I think something like this would be more beneficial because it would have a greater effect on the taxpayers if we could get more aid from the state, so we have to have less burden on the our tax levy. So
And it is levied on the property, but everyone who lives in the property is affected by it
Yep.
because
Mhm.
the renters, even though they don't own it, they in effect pay.
Their rent goes up.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yep.
So it's not just the owner, it's.
Everybody.
Affects
that
everybody.
really Would be a benefit to
Mhm.
all residents.
Yep.
Trickle down effect of all the costs,
Trickle down.
all the costs.
Because with the 7 billion surplus, they're all gonna be clamoring for that, so
The hands will be out.
you gotta get after it. 7 billion, yes.
146 bucks. The last one I saw. All right, we will do that. Maybe on
We
the next meeting.
didn't
We got a second.
vote
Got a
on it.
motion in a second. We haven't voted yet. So any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action item number 9, consider adopting the 2022 operating budget resolution number 21-62. This is the basis for the 21-61. I mean, the operating budget is what was used to come up with what the levy was. So
It's actually, the levy has to be adopted today. The budget actually could be adopted next week, but. it-
We might as well do it.
So we usually do it at the same time.
Right.
And all the corrections, changes that were made were outlined in yellow.
Yeah.
In your,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that,
Mhm.
is that the most recent changes or all the changes? I mean, we had some early
All the
changes. Is it all the changes? Okay.
All the changes from the last go around, right?
Right, in the, when I sent you the line item for the preliminary budget, it had highlights in there, and those are the
Yep.
ones that, you know, we had maybe changed and asked the department head about it, so that, but then these changes that we made are added to that.
Mhm.
in yellow.
Well, thank you for all that information. It's a lot of work putting that together, so.
There's a lot of pages.
There were a lot of pages.
Well, And thank you to the finance committee too.
Yes.
like,
A lot of meetings and discussions.
I move to approve the budget as submitted.
I'll second. it.
Motion made and seconded to adopt the 2022 operating budget resolution number 21-62. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving
Greg,
on.
Greg, can you hear us?
Yep,
Okay, we didn't hear your eye there, but.
I saw your mouth move, though.
Wink.
I waved my hand too, how's that?
There you go.
If we're done with all the action items, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're about done now. Board updates. One thing I'll mention. We had a meeting yesterday with our engineers and with the FAA with regard to the airport. FAA is a little bit concerned with the amount of acreage that we're proposing to acquire for airport expansion, thinking that the acreage that we're looking to buy is more than we need for the 20-year plan. So they'd like us to cut back on the number of acres. So the engineers are working on doing something in that regard. The other thing that they also mentioned was that the new program that the president signed, not the
Infrastructure.
The infrastructure.
the infrastructure program, also provides infrastructure monies for airports. Our airport qualifies, and so we will get an additional, besides the $150,000 we get now, we'll get an additional $110,000 a year for 5 years.
Per year for
Per
5.
year?
Per year for 5 years. So that is going to assist as far as the moving of hangars and whatnot with regard to expanding the open space next to the runway that the FAA requires. So that'll be a benefit as far as the airport is concerned.
What's the reduction in acres?
They haven't said yet. They just, their opinion is it looks like we're getting more acres than we need for the use of the buildings. We had some setback widths and whatnot that they thought were excessive and more acres than we needed. So instead of 7, well, we could end up at 5 or 6.
Oh, it was 7? I thought it was 9.
9 was the way that Mr. Barth wanted it.
Oh.
To square off the fields, made it 9 acres.
That's all.
Our original proposal with those odd angles that he doesn't like was 7. They think the 7 is even still too much, so it could end up at 6 or something like that. The reconfiguration and maybe leaving out 1 or 2 hangars
Mhm.
to shorten up the area.
But, at the time of purchasing the land, we don't need to use it right away, and it may not be available in the future, I don't know if they're.
Then
thinking
they
through
talk
it.
about doing a taking. If it's not available, you can do a taking.
No,
And I said, I'll tell you what,
no.
as an elected official, you can sit there and say that all you want, being on there. As an elected official, we don't have a taste for doing the taking, so it isn't gonna happen. If
No.
you can't get this done, it's done.
Yep,
Right.
So they understood,
I agree.
but
I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we get some better numbers, but,
right.
I'm just leaning towards, if we need to on our own, but I guess let's
But
look
if
at
we do
numbers.
it, if we
when it
do it on our own, we won't get the federal.
We won't get the
Reimbursement.
90%.
comes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
right.
difference, it's- we buy the extra on our own after or something. That's just thinking out loud.
I think we can come up with a plan that is sufficient for the proposed expansion and eliminate some of the excess area. That was just, I just wanted to report that to you as far as what the meeting was. That sound about right, Greg?
Yeah, you pretty much hit it on the head. They got all kinds of money for us, but they got our hands tied right now.
So, Greg, you got anything you want to report on?
Well, I guess that's about anything I've had to do was at airport yesterday, so. I did hear that we're not getting our doors for our shop. I don't know. Somebody said La Crosse has them over there if you want to change companies, but I haven't heard anything more.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Brian sent an email yesterday that they got notified that all the doors won't show up till mid-February
Oh,
that's unacceptable. So
No.
Weezers are looking for other options and to get doors.
mhm.
I haven't heard anything from Brian as of today, so hopefully, that last windstorm, those temporaries blew in again, and that's gonna get old. It's probably the 3rd time that's happened, so. Not
Well,
good.
we're heating 2 buildings too. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I guess if there's something available and they need to find out a price, to let us look at this February thing. I just don't cut it,
Right.
that supplier knew that it was gonna happen sometime the end of this year, and here we are at the end of the year, so. it should have been here.
in defense of the supplier, he was kept being told this date, then it would change, and it was this date, and it just keep.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to have been the 15th of December here, and then all of a sudden now it's the 15th of February. And so, but Weezers are on top of it, looking into it to try to find another alternative. So we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
Teresa, what do you got?
It was kind of a quiet week. We had truth and taxation meeting, went well, thank you. And my solid waste meeting was canceled Wednesday because they didn't have all the proposals that they want to bring up for contracts and stuff ready. And we had the elected official meeting. That was it.
Yeah, I don't have much else to add to that than what Teresa added, and I told you about the doors, so I don't really have nothing new.
The bearer of
Bearer of bad news.
Mhm.
Dewey, what do you got?
Not much going on, pretty quiet in the north front there. The wagon wheel bridge to bike pathway, I call it. They're gonna be pouring concrete pretty soon for the ramps. It's taking shape and actually they're ahead of schedule on it because of the good weather, so.
So they're gonna get everything up to the overpass itself, and that'll be done in the spring.
The last I heard.
Thinking they'll have to close 61 to do that.
Momentarily for the, when they lift the pieces into place, but it won't be a long thing.
Right.
They got room that they can
An hour or
bypass it.
whatever.
You'll have to detour to cross, I'm sure.
Detour down Chestnut to get.
Or
Yeah.
through La Crescent
Yeah,
too, yeah.
just, it'll be the lifting into place, but they're. For $3 million, they better be done on time.
Depends on the supplier.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Bridge to nowhere.
I'll say that. I got chewed out about saying that.
Yeah.
I'll never- I'll never say
About
that
it.
again.
Mhm.
It's the bridge to the Apple capital of Minnesota. All right, so that's all our reports. Public comment. Anybody have anything to add? Anybody online? John, we haven't heard anything from you. Do you got a comment?
No, and there's nobody online, so,
I was asking John Puglisi because.
oh, John,
he-
oh,
he
John and
usually
Heidi's
talks
on
quite a
here
bit.
too. Heidi's on here.
I've got nothing for you. We know that disappoints you, but
Yeah.
I thought I'd give you an opportunity though.
Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you guys
Merry
have a great
Christmas to
holiday.
everybody too.
You and your family, be safe over the holidays. You know, you look in the news and we keep seeing more cases of COVID. So just thinking about you and your families, everybody have a great Christmas.
Thank you, John. You
Same to you.
And we do have a
Thank you.
meeting next, right?
Right.
Yes.
We will have a meeting on Tuesday, the 27th. to Finalize any year-end business that might come before us.
Yep, and the deadline will be noon Monday for getting into the
For getting it
packet.
into the
The packet will come out late Monday.
Okay.
It's actually the 28th.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sounds right.
Tuesday is the
Okay.
28th.
Mhm.
So don't anybody show up on the 27th.
Wait,
That
is
was
it the
wrong.
20, what is the date?
7 days. Plus 21.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Got it. We got it. Really mixed up on the days already.
We actually gained 2 seconds on daylight now. So.
I know. It's the longest day of the year.
Yay.
The shortest day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we would,
shortest day.
Short
we would
meeting, too.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.